Hi everybody, this is Judy from Fox City's Quilt Company, and I am doing my first live Secrets from the Sewing Room video. We had talked about it, and I just wanted to kind of touch on some of the things that we had talked about in the last video. I did another video a while ago where when we were snowed out, and again we were snowed out again today, so we didn't have the shop open again today because this weather is just insane. So I rewatched the video trying to make it a little better and trying to touch on some things and some other tips that I could give you. And one of the things that I noticed in the last video is when I was showing you around the sewing room, I was showing you some tips and tricks and things, but I realized I came across my painter's tape, and I told you I would get back to it, and I never did. So tonight's video is about just plain good old painter's tape. And I use painter's tape a lot in my sewing room, and it's a great tool for marking. You can use it for marking a weird seam allowance, or you can use it for marking your fabric. And I'm going to show you what I'm talking about in just a second. But I typically use green painter's tape. And the reason I use green painter's tape is you can write on it in pencil or in ink, and it doesn't matter. You'll be able to see it really, really well. Painter's tape is also really good on fabric because it doesn't leave a sticky residue. And one of the brands that I use a lot is something called Frog Tape. It's a little more expensive, but it comes in this great container. And when you're done it's a little softer too. And then when you're done using it, you have this great container, and I use this old needles in it, or I put in what can happen is you just shut it back up, and when it's full or when you get your next painter's tape, you can toss this one out, and then nobody is going to get hurt with anything sharp in your from your sewing room when you throw it in the garbage. So then one of the other things that I do, I'm going to pick you up and I'm going to walk over here, and somebody had made a comment that, Judy, you have put some art on it. Well, I don't use it for my design wall is basically what I use these blank walls for. And so right now I'm auditioning House of the Month, and what I've done is I've used painter's tape to hold place. I don't hurt my walls. And I also don't hurt the fabric. So the other thing that you can do is once you get it into the place that you want, so I'm sorry, I'm trying to get this into focus, is you can write row 1 tape and put it right on your block. Or you can write, for your next one, row 2, block 1. So it's a really good way to mark your fabric without leaving any residue. So I really like it a lot. If you're not blessed with a great big wall in your sewing room, or another great wall to use in your house is, that great big long wall that goes into your basement. A lot of people have a wall going into their basement unless they have an open basement. Use that wall so you can pin things up in there, and that's a really good way to audition blocks. So again, I have this enormous space. I don't have a design wall. I have this wall, and I use painter's tape to audition. Then the other thing, and I'm going to try and flip you around here, I'll just do this, is I am currently working on this project, and it has a lot of different colors in it. So, and I don't have the luxury of having them all marked. So what I have done is I've taken painter's tape on a lot of them, and I've written on painter's tape all of the different colors. And what's really great is I can, let me pull back here. I'm getting bad angles here. As I could just take this off, and it doesn't leave any sticky residue. So I have I have used other things like labels, but they always end up, if they're on your fabric for any length of time, they always end up leaving a little sticky residue. So and that's about all I have to tell you. So today's tip is painter's tape. It's a great tool. It doesn't cost that much. It lasts a zillion years, and it's a good way to mark your fabric. Rows, blocks, settings, and anything else that you may want to do. So we will see you next week at 6:30 for some more Secrets from the Sewing Room. Thanks.